Guys, this is SansCorpsTarot, and today I'm back again with another pick a card reading about who you're going to be in a relationship with next. So I really just want to dive deep into whoever this person is. I want to dive deep into their energy. I'm going to get, is this an old person? Is it a new person, etc. And then I also want to just really find out, about their personality. I just really want to be able to demonstrate clearly to you who this person is going to be so that you can sort of like easily identify them almost when you meet them in real life if you have not already. So we have 4 groups for you today. I was really excited because I just got this deck today from a flea market. It's called the Magic Mundane Tarot deck. It's an indie tarot deck, and I love it. So pile 1, you have the Hanged One. So this would be the Hanged Man. And I love this deck because they have like little poems written on the cards too. So I'm going to read each group's little poem when we get to the groups in your guys' piles. So number 2, group number 2, pile number 2, we have the 3 of Lighters, which is the 3 of Wands. Group 3, we have Justice, which is Justice. Pile 4, we have the Moon. Yeah, once again, just the Moon. Alright, so I would recommend meditating on the energy of whoever you think you're going to be in a relationship with next. You could have a type of person in mind already, or maybe you've just been like fantasizing about a certain type of relationship. But, regardless, just try your best to think about it or envision yourself in a relationship. And then, see whichever group you're drawn to, whichever group matches the energy that you find yourself in. So is it group 1, 2, 3, or 4? So again, 1 is the Hanged Man, group 2 is 3 of Wands, group 3 is Justice, and group 4 is the Moon. So take your time, choose your piles, only take what resonates, and I will see you guys in your readings. Bye! Okay, group 1, if you chose the Hanged One, the Hanged Man, this will be your pile, all about who you will be in a relationship with next. So first I'm going to start out by reading the little poem that's on here. So it says, aren't you exhausted? Let's see, let me try to put it in the frame. I don't know if it'll focus. Nope, probably not. Aren't you exhausted carrying that wet weight? What if you allowed yourself to rest? Even in the uncomfortable in-between spaces, pin yourself to the line. Surrender. Sure, the clamps pinch, but anything worth doing comes with a little discomfort. Can you feel it? The acrobatic whip and upside-down world? You're lighter already. So that obviously is like a pretty intense little poem to come out. It's giving me that energy that you guys' person probably is not like in the best place when you guys come together. This poem started out talking about exhaustion. It says, aren't you exhausted carrying that wet weight? I mean, you guys, like, I don't know if you're familiar with the feeling of like wearing wet clothes, but it's like something's physically weighing you down. It is very like physically tiring because your clothes all of a sudden weigh so much more. And it's hard for you to walk and carry yourself in them. And I mean, there are a couple messages with that. It's like the message of being restricted by the clothes, because when they're wet, your clothes, they can't move as freely as when they're dry, but then also they weigh a lot. So I think that your person is just really in, I'm going to call them your person to make it easy, but the person you're going to be in a relationship with next, your person, I think that they're going to be definitely carrying a lot of weight. When you meet them, I think that they're just gonna, they're gonna have a lot of responsibilities in their life. They could be a student, they could be starting out at a new job, they could be just taking on more responsibilities in general in their life. Maybe they're volunteering more, maybe they're, starting up something that's, a hobby, but, maybe it's just they're putting a lot of effort into it, maybe more effort that needs to be, or more effort than makes it fun. There is an energy of like them being very exhausted and tired, and your relationship and you being sort of like a bright light, a beacon of light, and like the opportunity to lighten up their load, lighten up their energy, because it did talk about, pin yourself to the line, surrender, sure the clamps pinch, but anything worth doing comes with a little discomfort. And then it says, can you feel it, the acrobatic whip and upside down world, you're lighter already. So a lot of messages actually are coming out with that, which is so interesting. I'm so glad I got this deck because I feel like it's going to just, bring about so many intuitive messages. But, with the message of them being restricted by this like theoretical wet clothing, I think that they're just, they have a very predictable, repetitive life that they're leading right now. They're very much doing the same thing every day. And now that they have more responsibilities, it feels like they have less wiggle room for, having fun. So they can't really just decide to go on like a little weekend trip flippantly because, they need to be home and be doing the chores because during the week they're really busy. So it's a lot of, they definitely feel restricted in just the amount of fun and levity and spontaneity that they can bring into their life. I feel like they feel like they have a much more rigid lifestyle, or a lifestyle that's less able to be flexible than they actually have. I think that there's some message of like perceived rigidity and perceived lack of flexibility, because I think that they're just, they have a lot of stress, they have a lot of things put on them, but I think that they're also just sort of, they're putting on a lot of things to themselves, they're emotionally, energetically giving a lot to these situations. And I think it is like a lot of different responsibilities. I don't think it's just one area of their life. I think, they're trying really hard in their career, maybe they're trying really hard in their studies, they're trying really hard in even like, the extracurricular little like soccer team that they're on. They're just like putting a lot more stress into it than the situation calls for, and that's making them feel a little downtrodden with life, if I'm being honest. But then they meet you, and I think that you are a very like spontaneous, or at least more spontaneous than they are, a little bit more free-spirited, and not because that's just your nature, but I think that right now you're able to just sort of action that a little more. You're able to like show off that part of yourself, maybe it could even be something like you have a very lax job, so you're able to wear clothes that actually portray your personality, whereas, and maybe you guys meet in like a work type setting or something where they have to dress up a little more properly, but then you are just sort of like a free spirit wearing like, flowy pants and like just a graphic t-shirt or something. Those are just like random little silly examples. But okay, so that was some messages. But let's get some energy of, well, at first I want to get some tarot about, who this person is specifically. Is it going to be a new person? Is it going to be an old person? Is it going to be a mix of the two? I don't know. I will say I saw the Lovers when I split the deck then to shuffle. Let's see. So pile one. Who is this person that they're going to be in a relationship with next? Pile one. Yeah, sorry if you guys see my feet or anything. Pile one. Who's pile one going to be in a relationship? Oh, God. Who's pile one going to be in a relationship with next? My incense ashes are moving everywhere. Alright, who's pile one going to be in a relationship with next? Is this going to be an old person? A new person? We have 5 of Wands. So let's get some more. Five of Wands, and then we have the Queen of Pentacles. Okay. Then what else do we have? Let's get something else. And the Fool. Interesting. Alright, so I'm actually going to get clarifiers for all of these cards. because they kind of each told me a little bit different of a story. But let's see. So can I get a clarifier for the Five of Wands? Seven of Cups. I love the balance in energy. We have Wands, which is fire, Pentacles, which is earth, Cups, which is water, and then the Fool. I don't know if this is valid at all, but the Fool just reminds me of air, because such a lighthearted guy, just ready for whatever comes. Let's see, let's get a clarifier for the Queen of Pentacles, Page of Cups, and let's get a clarifier for the Fool. For the Fool, oh, the Emperor. Okay, so I think this is interesting. All right, so this is someone that I don't think that you guys have ever actually grounded anything before. Oh my god, sorry, this like incense is, usually I love incense, but for some reason, maybe it's just because it's so hot out, it's like this smoke is just sort of suffocating me a little bit right now. But so this could very well be someone that you've known for a little bit, but I don't think that anything ever grounded romantically. And I mean, I don't think that, yeah, like I don't think that you guys even probably like had gone on like dates or anything. I don't think you've been in a relationship before, but I don't think that you've ever even been able to like engage in that opportunity of romanticism with each other, or like a romantic relationship. I think that it's been, you guys have probably known each other, but it's probably been like a not an undefined sort of relationship, but like bordering on platonic, just because it's not explicitly romantic. So almost a little bit like it's assumed to have been platonic. But I mean, like the Five of Wands is telling me that there's you guys were, like they were trying to get to you, but there's no person here. There's just a bunch of people holding up their wands, It's like they tried to get to you, but they didn't really try. Like they did, but they didn't put their whole body into it, This is reminding me of like the, Macarena, or like the put your right foot in, whatever that one is. But, so I think that they, like their face isn't even there. So I think that they didn't really want to approach you that much. And I think that you could have very well like mirrored them in this energy of just sort of like sitting back and watching them and observing them, but never really going towards them, because I definitely don't think anything ever like, grounded in this relationship. Because I mean, like, we have the Queen of Pentacles being clarified by the Page of Cups, which is telling me this is like a Queen of Pentacles that is trying to be a Queen of Pentacles. It's a Queen of Pentacles whose underlying energy is sort of like the Page of Cups. So it's someone who's like, yeah, I can offer things, but it's like someone who's still just a little bit emotionally insecure at what they can offer. So I think that this is definitely someone like this. It could be someone like you had like a crush with, or crush on, or something in the past that you like. Yeah, you guys never got into union or anything. But obviously you're going to be in a relationship with them next, because I mean, yeah, so with the Fool being clarified by the Emperor, it's telling me like they want to take control of this new beginning, or there's some energy of this new beginning being taken control of and being directed by someone purposefully to try and like create this Queen of Pentacles from this Page of Cups. Yeah, it is like, that you guys want to like transform this like, small sort of like budding interest in each other into like a real grounded opportunity for a relationship. And I just think that hadn't been able to happen yet. So yeah, I'll stop rambling about that. So that's who this person is. I'm actually going to, I'll move these cards over here. Or actually, I'm going to move them, sorry, I'm going to move them right over here, because I'm going to get just a lot of cards about like their personality and their energy right now. And so you guys can keep looking at these cards if you want, but I really want to get just like a lot about them. So I have like Cards Against Humanity and Apples to Apples cards that I will be using. So let's see, I'm going to get, let's get some adjectives. This is like one of my favorite ones of these like random little game decks that I made. The Apples to Apples, just like adjective, like category cards, because they're just like so silly. They're like single words and you can really get some energy from them. So let's see, who is this person that pile 1 is in a relationship with next? Who is this person that pile 1 is in a relationship with next? I mean, from the Hanged One energy, like we already know they're a little bit, I am getting earth energy from them. Like, but you know, like their actions are earthy. Like maybe it's someone who like naturally is more of like a water sign, or like maybe a little more like airy even, but someone who just feels the need to be super earthy, and someone who like is trying really hard, you know, because this is giving like Virgo energy, you know, just like carrying way more than they need to, which is weird because it's the Hanged Man, which is not Virgo. Yeah, so let's see. I mean, yeah, they're definitely like struggling. There's someone, they're a little bit of a, I don't know. I don't want to say workaholic. I think that, I don't want to say try hard either, but I think they are kind of just a try hard. They're just one of those people who naturally like put their all into everything. They're one of the people who they need to like consciously step back and like try and, you know, ground their energy. There's someone who just very naturally like gives and goes. Like they just do everything, try to be everything. They just automatically assume that they have to carry that burden for themselves. They don't even, you know, this is giving me energy, like they just assume that they need to like wash their clothes by hand. They need to dry their clothes themselves, and they don't realize they have like a washing machine and a drying machine right there. They just like, they're like, no, I have to do it myself. I can't like burden these appliances with my own dirty laundry, when it's like that's the job of the appliances. So this is so funny, but yeah, this is like, they're definitely kind of very Virgo-y. They put on a lot of funny. They put a lot of things on their shoulder. They're a funny person though. Happy. So okay, so I think that this is like, that's naturally their energy. They're a funny person. They're a happy person. They're like a happy-go-lucky person. That's the phrase that's really coming to mind. But like, I think that they are just so, they overburden themselves sometimes so much by things that is like sort of what harps on this. Not to get like really somber and sad, but it's giving me a little bit of the energy of like the deeply like depressed person who's like still puts on like a happy face because they love to make other people smile and stuff. And I think that they are naturally very like happy, like uh, they are, yeah, just like I don't want to say free spirited. I think that they're, yeah, naturally just sort of like a lightweight person, you know? They're happy, they're, you know, they're giggly, they see beauty in things, but I think that they're just, yeah, they're really weighed down by their responsibilities. And it's, and they still like, and so they are still this happy person, but it's like, I think that it makes it feel or seem a little less sincere because they're sort of feeling like they have to put on this happy face and keep up this, you know, funny person persona despite feeling really weighed down by these things. And I think that you're going to help them release, like your connection specifically, and you and in your connection is going to help them release all of these like unnecessary burdens, you know, like you'll help teach them like, yeah, you can work really hard in your career, but you don't need to like get there an hour earlier than you have to, where when literally no one's there, so no one even knows to praise you for that, you know. And then we have powerful, weird, that's fun, famous. Okay, so honestly, famous is going along with powerful to me. I think this person is such like a hard worker. They're gonna be, you know, they're gonna really make something of themselves. You know, maybe they'll be famous, take what resonates, but regardless, like they do, like they need to learn to not work so hard. Like they're just naturally like a super driven person. They're gonna like go out and achieve their dreams, you know. This is giving me the energy of, you know, the person who's like trying to go to med school, so they do literally like everything in the book to like go to be able to get into med school. So they do all the extracurriculars, they like volunteer like 1 billion hours a year because that's less than the amount of time that's in a year. But they just, you know, they go above and beyond, and it means, yeah, they're going to achieve a lot, but it also means, you know, they got to watch out. They're going to burn themselves out, and make life miserable for themselves if they continue on this track. And they're not going to continue on this track, but I mean, they are just, they're a powerful person. Like, they have a vision in their mind, and I think that they have every capability of seeing that vision through to the end. You know, this could be someone they're very driven, but they could, you know, their life vision, maybe it even, like, it changes a little bit, you know, maybe they really want to go to med school, but then, and they were like, I'm going to be like a pediatrician, but then they're like, actually, no, now I'm really going to be a surgeon, and maybe eventually they're like, actually, no, now I'm really just going to be like a clinical psychologist and like a therapist. But it's, you know, they're so driven towards whichever path that they go on, or whichever path that they're like even temporarily like turned towards. They go on it so confidently that, like, they learn lessons and they gain valuable experience regardless of whether or not that's the path that they continue on. So they do have a very powerful energy, because it's not just they're powerful because they have like one life mission, but it's they're powerful because they have the ability to make anything they want it to be, or they have the ability to make anything they want their life mission if they want it to be, you know. So, and they will go towards it and succeed rapidly in whatever this is. And it's almost like, you know, pursuing one thing, even if it ends up not being what they pursue in the end, it's still going to put them in the right position to pursue what they do actually decide they want to. So a lot about like this person's future and career is coming out, which is very interesting. So they definitely could have very strong Virgo, Capricorn placements. What's the other earth sign? Taurus, but I'm honestly not so much getting Taurus. I'm getting a little bit of Gemini, but I'm getting, yeah, a lot of Virgo, a lot of Capricorn also. But let's get some other cards about them. Oh my god, so I have these other apples to apples cards. I just do love this, you know? I love talking about people, and it's fun for me too, because it's like the more I do this, it's like I can just like build an image of this person in my head almost. Like it's like it's like their soul to me is like loading. Like the energy of their soul is just like loading in my like body, in my like crown chakra, in my third eye, my understanding of their soul. And like with each little card that I pull out, it like loads that much more. Which I think that could be, maybe that's also like your interpretation of this person when you meet them, because I think that they are going to be a little overburdened with their responsibilities, so you could take a little bit to really understand the depth of their energy and their personality, because even like right now, the reading has only been about like their career and like all about like stuff like that and their work ethic. It's like, yeah, we got funny and happy, but we got that because it's like preludes to other things, you know. Funny and happy, yeah, but it's because like it's masked a lot by their their work ethic. But we also got weird. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I think they're just a weird person. Yeah, I think that they're just a naturally very a quirky person, which is, yeah, again, interesting, because you wouldn't really guess that from the outside, because they just seem like they're getting their bag, you know. They seem like they're just another cog in the machine, almost the capitalist machine. But no, underneath the surface, they're like actually very, very quirky, very, very, very funny. Let's get some more energy of them. You know, maybe they'll just say random little words or phrases out loud. That's something that I'm getting. We have friendship bracelets. So yeah, you guys are going to be like really good friends. I think that that's how this relationship is going to start out. You guys are going to start out as really good friends. Yeah, because I think that they almost need to get like used to you, truly. Like they need to get comfortable in your energy, because they're so in their grind mindset right now that they're not like really looking for anything romantic. And so you definitely guys just, yeah, you start off as friends most certainly. TMI. So yeah, you guys are like friends, but then yeah, it obviously merges into a little bit something more. And I think that you guys like the intimacy that you guys gain through your friendship is what like creates such a solid foundation for your relationship, and what makes them like truly trust you, because yeah, they definitely have like a lot of walls around them, I feel like, and it's almost like, you know, it's almost like they feel like they can't think about their emotions or their emotional state because they're so busy and they don't have time for it. So it does kind of seem like they're just a little detached and not in tune with their emotions. And so I think that they are going to need a little bit of time to just be able to open up to you. But then once you guys do, and once they become truly comfortable in your energy, you guys just become very comfortable with each other, and it like quickly, strongly blossoms into a relationship. But yeah, there is like, for a foundation to be built at all, you know, you need to like uncover the earth, like to have the soil to build the foundation on. You know, there's an energy of like, yeah, you guys need to like find the plot of land first. You know, you guys need to create some sort of bond together, because they're not even really that open to meeting new like friends right now, but you're just such like an extraordinary light in their life that they're like, okay, I'll go along with it. Googling yourself, that's actually giving me energy of like you guys Googling each other. I think that you guys do really keep tabs on each other, especially because this was like, I think it started off as you guys both a little bit observing, watching the other, like almost a little bit like a prolonged crush type situation. And so I think that you guys really kept tabs on the other. It was like a prolonged crush, and then I think that you guys, okay, so even if you guys could like start off going on dates, but I feel like the dates aren't going to be anything super duper romantic. They're going to be dates that are like friendship dates. So I don't really think that you guys are going to like, you know, kiss or do that much stuff like sexually. And if you do, then I think you guys are probably the type of people to like engage in sexual acts very nonchalantly. I don't think that you would be the type of people to have sex with this person very soon after meeting them, but, you know, hold a lot of weight in that sex. I think that if you guys are the type of people who do care a lot more about sex, I think that you guys would wait, because there is an energy of them just being closed off. And so I think that they'd also probably be closed off sexually. So I'm feeling like you guys are probably going to wait a little bit before, you know, anything happens between you guys. But I think that once something does happen like sexually between you guys, it's also going to like spark the actual relationship aspect of your relationship. But yeah, so this is, you guys like Google each other a lot. I think that this is someone, they like will say with TMI and weird, like it's just like really, I feel like they go hand in hand with each other. So I think that they're the type of person to just sort of like say whatever's on their mind. And I don't know, like the type of person to be like, oh, I have to poop now, or the person be like, oh, I just masturbated, you know, the type of person that was like, that's a little taboo what you just said, but they are just truly that quirky, funny, weird person. And maybe you wouldn't guess that from them having like almost like this very Virgo Capricorn like work hard aesthetic or like outward appearance. You wouldn't really know or assume that they'd be the type of person like talk about their bodily functions, but they are. Then we got Netflix. So I think that that's how you guys sort of like bond together. I think that you guys do just sort of have a very nonchalant energy. So I think that you guys are eyeing each other for a while in the beginning, and then you guys I don't know, like you guys could start to date, but I think that you guys will just mostly like start to like casually see each other in not really any defined sort of way, and then it'll sort of like morph into a relationship once you guys become very comfortable with each other and break that sexual seal. Let's see if any other card wants to come out. Definitely like a very fun-loving person though, which is why it's so frustrating that they're so bogged down by like their commitments, especially frustrating that they're choosing almost in a way to be bogged down by their commitments, because they are such a fun-loving person. They can have such a fun, quirky, happy-go-lucky energy to them, but they just sort of, you know, they just, yeah, they're not even they're not willing to put themselves in that position, you know. It feels like they're really like validating only like 10% of their personality and their character. They're like, no, I only want to be the part of me and the version of me that like makes money and achieves things and is on my way to doing exactly what I want in life. And like pleasing all of those around me also. You know, they're not willing to like they're not willing to sit in like their own selfish energy. They're not willing to do things for themselves. They're not willing to like they're not willing to like feel their own emotions and feelings and like hobbies. I feel like whatever hobbies they do have, they're probably like with the intent of like some other like independent, you know, goal, you know? Like if they have a hobby of like they really like to go on walks, then I think it's like I don't really think that they actually enjoy walks so much as they want exercise, and like it's not like a fun thing to go on walks for them. It's something that they like regimentally force themselves to do every day. And it's frustrating because like yeah, they're making their life a little harder than it has to, for sure. And I'm really excited for you to come into their life and like make them and to take them out of that and to show them your happy-go-lucky self where you're also able to like achieve what you want, and you'll inspire them and motivate them to like be less in their head, be less committed to these things, be less obsessed with grinding as hard as they can. We also have Scream Queen. So this is so fun. I love this person's energy because it is so like complex. Which I mean, that's like also the joy of getting so many cards about like one question specifically of who this person is. I can really like get a sense of their complexity. I think that there's some energy that they're a little. So Scream Queens, those are the people, it says, an attractive young horror film actress who screams and cries her way through the movie. See Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, that's what it says. So I feel like, you know, there's probably maybe some like deep-rooted complex trauma where maybe the lighthearted, happy-go-lucky aspect of themselves really got a little like beat up on when they were younger, or maybe just experiences they learned to not really like that part of themselves. They learned that the part of themselves that is most validated and wanted by society is the part of themselves that puts themselves last and everyone else first, and like random goals and aspirations first. So they learned that the part of me that everyone accepts and likes the most, and the part of me that seems to get along with everyone the most, is the part of me that just has like no fun and only works really hard towards their goals. And I'm not gonna have like any sort of social life or any sort of joy because, you know, basically what society seems to want from me is to be a puppet and a robot and to just do what I want, which is actually just what they want. So, and I think, but this person does have like a very innocent, like childlike happiness to them, but it was masked for so long, or it was just neglected for so long. It is now buried deep within them. And I think that reconnecting to that inner child, and I think it really is like an inner child thing. So reconnecting to that inner child will sort of help them reconnect to their emotional state in general and help them open up to like not being so burdened by the responsibilities and open themselves up to like life being lighthearted again. Beautiful energy. But yeah, I think that they do have like an inner child that they feel like is naive and pitiful and maybe like shameful or something, you know, just because of how unsuspecting they are, you know, because I think that this person's inner child is someone very happy-go-lucky, someone who's sort of in their own world, very quirky, saying silly things to themselves, and then, you know, they saw other people make fun of them for it. Maybe they saw other people not be that way and they thought there was something wrong with them. But also, I think that they just sort of, I don't even think it was that, you know, I think that it's more so they saw other people make fun of them because I think that it was something like they felt the happiness that they felt being their true selves, and they also felt other people's disappointment in them being their true selves, that they just sort of like shut it off. They very quickly learned that they didn't want to be that person, and they learned that, yeah, other people saw them as immature and didn't take them seriously. And so I felt like they were the child who wanted to mature very quickly into a grown-up so that people would listen to them and that people would take them seriously. I think that they saw themselves as sort of like the scream queen, or they were worried that other people saw themselves as the scream queen, as someone who's just someone's almost like stupid, you know, just someone who's so detached from reality and so like half-minded that they're just, you know, they're just like this silly little Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, just like screaming their way through the movie, like only not dying because they're in a movie, you know? So I think that that really triggered them to, that embarrassment in themselves, honestly, triggered them to like really embody this hard grind mindset where they're like, no, I'm going to go after what I want with everything I have because then people will take me seriously when they see what I'm capable of. And you're going to come in and tell them you actually just deserve to be taken seriously because you're a human being and you deserve to be happy with who you are as a human being. And they're going to be beyond appreciative of that lesson that you have to teach them. Let's get some more cards, some Cards Against Humanity cards about. These ones are going to help me get like an idea of like their like aura, which I already kind of am, but like yeah, they're like physical aura mostly. So I want to see if I can get anything about like their physical features. Let's see, something about pile one's next relationship person's physical features. So hold on, I don't like it when all those cards jump out at once. Let's get pile one's next relationship person's physical features. Oh my god, but all these cards jumped out anyway, so obviously a lot wanted to be had. So we have a micro pig wearing a tiny raincoat and booties. So that's what I'm talking about. They have an adorable energy. They have a very endearing, adorable energy, but they're almost embarrassed about it. They think it's something to be ashamed of. They think that it makes people not take them seriously, and it makes people think that they're just like a silly little girl, regardless of gender. Like that's how this person feels, like silly little like girl, because girls are traditionally, the ones in society who they're looked at as just like not being as smart, being, empty-headed, stuff like that. And then we have Keanu Reeves. So this just tells me that they could have that just sort of, almost like, okay, this is interesting. Okay, actually what I'm getting with Keanu Reeves is his girlfriend. He has a girlfriend who I'm pretty sure is like old, but she looks so young. So what I'm getting is that, yeah, this person just like actually does look young for their age. Yeah. And I think that that also like is what makes people look at them as some sort of just like silly little kid, because they almost do look like a kid almost. They just definitely look younger than their age. But honestly, I'm getting like, Keanu Reeves does have very like defined features, but then the micro pig, pigs are curvy. So I'm getting that they could have something like, something like beady type eyes or like round eyes, and then like, this sleek nose, not a very curvy nose, but then maybe like full cheeks or something like that. And then we also have a pangender octopus who roams the cosmos in search of love. So they could be queer. This could be a queer relationship. But I think that regardless, they also have a very Aquarius energy to them. And I think that's like their soul. Their soul is very Aquarius, very like, oh, I feel like I am not of this planet type energy. Yeah. And then we also have shapeshifters. Yeah, so this is like, they have a lot of different parts of themselves. They do have, like, they're a very snappy, sassy person when they want to be. They can put people in their place and they have strong opinions. But they're also, like, they're gushy. They're, like, a very soft soul. They're a nice, gentle person, but they do have a hard shell to protect themselves, honestly. But they're the type of person, like, they'll say something, they'll be like, oh my gosh, look at that cloud. Isn't that, like, that cloud looks like, and then they'll say, like, the most random thing ever. They'll be like, that cloud looks like an old woman with a cane petting a dog. And then if someone near them is like, I don't see that. And if someone near them, like, acts almost a little, like, rude to them about it, they'll like really snap and like put them in their place. They'll be like, no, that's actually just what I think, so I can't be wrong because that's just an opinion. Like they do have like they will put people in their place basically. And I think it's because, like, you know, they're not willing to put themselves around anymore, like, people who make them feel ashamed of who they are, because they have done so much work to make things for themselves and to create a solid, you know, self-sufficient, independent foundation for themselves, and to be strong in who they are, that they're not going to let other people, you know, rag on them for it. But I mean, that is a little contradictory of an energy, because there is, you know, they are embodying their really earth energy because they're a little bit insecure about their emotional state. But I think that it's, you know, they're learning to get in touch with their emotions. And I think that that's why your relationship really helps trigger that, because it's like they've done the work in all the other ways basically to, like, provide real sense of, you know, love for themselves, real sense of self-confidence and security. But I think that there's just, like, they're still a little insecure about being perceived as naive and silly. And so, I mean, you help them be strong and not insecure about that. But I think, yeah, it just does cause them to be a little snappy when they perceive themselves being, like, slighted by other people. Let's get another Cards Against Humanity card. One more. And we got passive aggressive post-it notes. So yeah, I think that they're not really, they're the type of people that they are a little disconnected from, you know, their emotions. So I don't think that they're going to be the type who really readily communicates. I think that they are going to because they just don't even know that they're going to have things that they need to communicate, you know, like they're not really going to understand how these little things affect them. And I think that your relationship is going to help them learn how little things affect them. But there is, like, just definitely, I don't know, there's, like, air energy, but, like, stifled air energy. So they're Aquarius, but they're only Aquarius really in their head. They don't really have any of the, you know, the verbal, the outward expression of the air energy. They're not very good at relaying their mental thoughts to the people around them. They keep it really inside. And even if they're thinking, like, man, I'm a little upset about something, like, they just simply won't know how to broach it in this relationship. And so you're definitely going to have to teach them a little bit about that, or a lot about that. But it is, like, they're willing to learn, but I think that they're really just insecure about, you know, they don't want you to feel like they're silly. I think they're afraid of being perceived as insecure or sensitive. They're afraid of being perceived as sensitive if they, like, tell you about something that they're, like, upset about, you know. I think that they really gaslight their own emotions quite a lot. Let's get some others about, yeah, just their energy. Even though, oh my god, it's been 42 minutes so far. Anything else? So we have heteronormativity, which is funny because this says pangender octopus. So yeah, they could be queer, they could be not queer, or maybe this is, like, going to be their first queer relationship or something, or your first queer relationship. Maybe heteronormativity was something that they attribute their insecurities as stemming from. Maybe they're like, yeah, I felt really insecure, you know, being a really feminine, you know, man, or, like, assigned male at birth person. I felt bad being a feminine, so because of heteronormativity, I had to, like, stifle that part of myself. Let's see, anything else? So we have Bill Nye the Science Guy. So they're definitely very smart. They're very, I mean, they have the opportunity to be famous in whatever field that they are in. I think that they will be. The gays. So yeah, definitely could be gay though. Being a mother effing sorcerer. I think that they're going to, your relationship's also going to open them up to spirituality. TBH. Let's get one more. Your relationship itself is just going to be very, very spiritual, because yeah, it's like, I don't know, they're not gonna think that they're able to be that vulnerable with anyone, and then they're able to be that vulnerable with you, and it's like a beautiful beacon of hope for them, because they're like, oh my god, I guess love is real. The patriarchy, yeah. So I mean, a lot about like societal norms, you know. I think that that's really what this person can attribute this burden stemming from, you know? They're like, I think that you guys will realize together that this person puts so much on themselves because of societal expectations and not necessarily what this person themselves wants. But okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there because that was like long. If you like this reading, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. But I am going to leave it there, pile 1. Yeah, I hope you guys like that. That was super in-depth, which is good because I wanted to get it in-depth. But alright, guys, have a nice day or night whenever you're watching this. Bye! Hey, pile 2, if you chose the 3 of lighters or the 3 of wands, this will be your pile all about who you are in a relationship with next. So, first I'm going to start out by reading this little poem that's on the front. So it says, a fixed burn filling the shape of its container until the vessel can no longer withstand the heat. Consumption of the things you thought were the bounds. You didn't come this far to only come this far. So this person's definitely a very action-oriented person, definitely like, you know, a go-getter. They're giving me like, you know, excited little puppy dog vibes because I know this is the 3 of lighters, which is supposed to be the 3 of wands, but it keeps giving me 3 of cups energy. And maybe that's just because, you know, lighters, I kind of associate that with, you know, the sort of like the energy of like friend groups, you know, smoking cigarettes, sharing their lighters, or like smoking weed or something, sharing their lighters. So it gives me sort of like a community, jovial, celebratory energy that the 3 of Cups gives me. So I feel like this is a very personable person. I think that they're probably pretty outgoing and sociable. Yeah, they're giving me like excited little puppy dog vibes, you know, like the type of person who's just like, you know, they'll speak quickly and like really excitedly and animatedly and like with a glimmer in their eye, but they're just talking about like, you know, I don't know, like a cute dog or something that they saw. Very, you know, very sweet energy that's coming through, honestly. But definitely because, I mean, the 3 of Wands is all about, it's about like expansion and setting yourself off to, you know, new places, seeing new things. I remember in my tarot deck that I have, the one I normally use, the 3 of Wands, the person's like holding 3 wands and he's looking off in the distance. And so, I mean, and then this poem here says, you know, a fixed burn filling the shape of its container until the vessel can no longer withstand the heat. And so that's like, it's giving me the mental image of like, you know, a fire building up inside of a lighter until it can't contain itself anymore and the lighter needs to like flip open and like expose the flame. And I know that's not how lighters work, but I feel like that's kind of like this person. Like I feel like this person's just like bursting with like energy and passion and excitement for life. And I feel like they're probably like, yeah, a pretty fun person to be around, but they're also, yeah, they're really, it's a nice energy because they're action oriented, you know, they're passionate, but it is stemming from, you know, their own sort of innate sense of creativity and excitement for life. So they're not like, you know, working really hard on a project because, you know, they want other people to be proud of them or they want to get like financial gain. They're working really hard on that project because, you know, it's a passion project and it's something that they feel really inspired to do. So let's get some energy of, you know, who is this person? Do you know this person? Oh my god, my leg, my foot, so annoying. Pile 1 was like way longer than it should have been, so I'm going to really try and make this one a little quicker. And I think it's because I spent a little bit talking about their prior connection. Oh my god, this just jumped out, the lovers. So let's see. So what's this, you know, who is this person? Pile 2's, you know, I am going to take it. Even though I didn't really ask the question yet, I feel like it just flipped out so confidently. Who is this person that pile 2 is in a relationship with next? Who is this person? Like, do they know them? Do they not know them? Who is this person? And then we have Judgment And we have Queen of Wands. So I'm going to get some clarifiers for these cards. So let's get a clarifier for the Lovers. So who is this person that pile 2 is going to be in a relationship with? Knight of Wands to clarify the Lovers. Interesting. Okay, can I get a clarifier for the Judgment card? Judgment card, King of Swords. And can I get a clarifier for the Queen of Wands? For the Queen of Wands, ooh, we have the Five of Cups. Okay, so take what resonates, but I'm getting that this could definitely be like an X for a lot of you. So the first card that we have, the Lover, is clarified by the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is like traditionally seen as very much like a player type energy. So this could be an ex, or this could just be someone that you've already had sort of like a sexual relationship with, or a very like physical relationship. Like maybe it's someone that you already dated, you had some sort of just like invested romantic energy with them. And I feel like it was, it was for a little bit. I don't think that this was even just, someone that you had sex with one time, or someone that you went on a few dates with a while back. I think this is someone that, you saw them for an extended period of time and you made the conscious decision to, let them go. But yeah, this is definitely someone who, I mean, it's your next relationship, so it's definitely someone who's coming back. Yeah, I'm interested in it, so I want to jump into the energy. But yeah, I think that this is, for a lot of you guys, this is like an ex or a returning person. And if you don't resonate with that, or if there's absolutely like no ex that you're interested in, I think this is going to be someone who's very similar to a past ex of yours. And so that could be something that turns you off initially. Especially if like how I was sort of like describing their personality, maybe it kind of like made you think of an ex that you had and you're like, oh God, no, like I don't want it to be them. If you actively do not want your next relationship to be with that person, then it will not be with that person, because, there's no way that you're going to just put yourself in a relationship with that person if you don't want it. So it could just be someone who's very similar to a past ex, because there's not exactly like the energy of rebirth, but there's the energy of something closing and then something very similar, like that mirrors it, opening up. So it's not a rebirth in one cyclical thing. It is something like something ends, but then something very similar restarts. And so honestly, I feel like if this was an ex, I don't think it's someone that you ended on such terrible terms with, or maybe it was a little bit of a harsh ending, but I think since then you have sort of like forgiven them, and you guys have maybe like both realized that you made some mistakes and that there was a reason why you guys couldn't have been together back then. But I don't think there was anything super heavily karmic and toxic about this relationship. But I think that it's something like maybe you guys just had to separate, or you just sort of independently decided. Maybe there was some logistical thing that made you separate, or maybe, you guys both decided you needed to sort of focus on yourselves. But I mean, there was some sort of like not very hostile ending. And so that's what's sort of like allowing for this restart. So, because it's not going to be a rebirth, because there's not something that needs to die and be resurrected. There's just something that ended that's going to continue. And it's either you ended a relationship with a toxic ex and you're going to get, your next relationship is going to be with someone similar to that ex who is not toxic, or you ended a relationship sometime or a connection sometime with a person who wasn't that toxic, and then you're going to restart that relationship as your next relationship. But so let's get some cards, just like about them. So I have some apples to apples cards that are so silly. I love them. I love like just these adjectives. They're so funny when they come out. It's just like single words. But let's see what pile two's person is like. I'm going to call them your person just because that's easier than saying the person you're going to be in a relationship with next. So let's see, who's pile two's person? What's their personality going to be like? What's their person's personality going to be like? So we have sneaky. Interesting. So honestly, I think that that's just sort of the energy of like this could really be someone from the past, or you're gonna think it's like someone from the past. If it actually is someone from the past, then they are probably gonna like sneakily be keeping tabs on you, and maybe they'll like have some sort of sneaky way to re-enter your life, like maybe they'll ask a mutual friend to put you guys in touch, or they'll like hang around somewhere that they know you go frequently. But if this isn't like an ex and this is going to be like a completely new person who's just similar to the ex, then I think, yeah, this is just sort of talking about how you're gonna assume that they're gonna be toxic in the same way that your ex is, or you're gonna just feel their energy and just sort of like assume the worst in them. Like you're gonna assume sneaky intentions, but they won't have sneaky intentions. Valuable. Oh, that's cute. Valuable, special. That's so cute. So those are like very similar words. Valuable, special, and then loud. That's funny. So that's how like sort of what I was getting, like the jovial energy of theirs. Hold on. Sorry about that, you guys. I ordered food and I told the person to leave it at the door, but he was like contacting me anyway, trying to hand it to me. Anyway, I got my food, we're all good. But yeah, so the loud, that's giving me energy. I think that they're a very sociable person. They're probably the life of the party. I'm sure that they're completely okay with having the attention on them. Um, they they feel very comfortable in attention too. I think that because they're just sort of like themselves, and they don't have. It's nice. It's a nice change from pile one, because I think that this person is very unobstructedly themselves. They're very freely themselves, and they're not really worried or concerned or even thinking about how other people perceive them. So they're really able to just like act and be whoever they want, because they're just not thinking about how other people are judging them. So they'll be really loud, they'll say random funny things. maybe if they meet like an especially cynical person, I'm get like this is an example. If they meet like a very, a highly academic, intellectual, but also like cynical, like emotionless person, that person they would probably think this person's a little obnoxious, just because this person is like they're living their inner child's truth. They are so in touch with their inner child. And like people who are a little insecure at their inner child, they definitely do not like this person, because I don't know. It's something about this person's confidence, because I don't think that they're not immature or anything, but they're so loud and they're themselves. And, even if you act a little like snappy and sassy to them when they say something, they're not going to take it to heart. They're going to be like, oh, whatever. They'll brush it off, and, they'll just go about their day being as loud and obnoxious as they were before. They're not really gonna care or think about other people. They're not gonna think that people are saying things to them with like bad intentions. So if someone says something a little snarky to them, they're not even gonna register that it's snarky. They're just gonna, it's not gonna affect them at all. It's just very funny. It's always like such a nice energy for someone to have, because I do not relate to that. Let's get some other apples to apples cards about their personality. What they're like, yeah, so that's also what I'm getting, like special and valuable. They're like, not many people have that sort of energy. Not many people are just so like absolutely themselves and like okay with it. Oh my god, my silly little cards went everywhere. Yeah, so I think what's like valuable and special about this person specifically is their purity of spirit, their self-awareness, and how genuinely they are themselves. Oh my gosh, so this just like flipped out. I wouldn't have taken it, but Tinder. Maybe this is someone you met on Tinder. I mean, that honestly could have been like that would fit so well with like this energy, you know? It could have been someone that you met on Tinder and you had a few dates with, but you know, maybe it was like, you know, you were talking to them for a while on Tinder, you went on dates with them on Tinder, but maybe it was just like it was a really bad time for you or a really bad time for them and you guys just sort of fell out of contact. But you know, there's someone like, you know, maybe you guys like reinvigorate that bond, reconnect that bond with each other in the future. But yeah, so let's see. So some cards about pile two's person. Some cards about pile two's person that they're going to be in a relationship with next. So we had three. So we have multitasking. Yeah, so honestly, I mean, take what resonates. Not to diagnose anyone or anything either, but if you guys are like familiar with ADHD, that's like what this person is giving me. Like they're just like a little puppy dog. It's like whatever is moving, that's what their head's gonna move towards, you know? Like if it, you know, if they're talking to someone, but then like they see like a squirrel or a fly out of the corner of their eye, they're just gonna like forget about their conversation and they're gonna start like obsessing about that fly. But oh my god, and then we had flying first class, which is funny because I just mentioned fly, like the bug. So I think that this person could be a little well off, or I think that they just like the finer things. I think that they're definitely someone who enjoys enjoying life. They like the process and the feeling of having a good time. They don't, and so I think that that's kind of what like colors their attitude towards the world because they want to have a good time, and so they have such a positive attitude, and so they're not going to assume that people have bad intentions when they say snappy things to them. They're not going to you know, assume that things are going to go wrong during the day because they just like the feeling that positivity brings them. They like feeling like life is good and fun and worth living. And so they're also, you know, they're willing to like, I mean, especially with the being the three of lighters or three of wands, they're willing to like, you know, drop the money to go on vacations. I'm getting like, you know, I'm not even so sure that they are wealthy as much as they live a little wealthier. And I don't think that they're necessarily living above their means, but I think that they're, you know, I think that they make whatever money that they make and then they very consciously use it up also in like experiences and fun ways. And so I think that they could make a good amount of money, but then I think that they also like part of making a good amount of money and part of what like brings them genuine fulfillment and joy in making that money is that they get to use that money soon afterwards for real experiences. And then we have my subconscious. So I think that there's like, I mean, especially because this person is so jovial and stuff outwardly, I think that there is some sort of like darker hidden undertones to them. If I had to guess, my guess is that it's some sort of like, you know, past relationship trauma. That's just sort of the first thing that's coming to mind because it is like, I feel like this person is very secure and okay with themselves, but then I feel like there is, you know, no one is only like butterflies and rainbows. People always have some sort of baggage with them, regardless of anything, you know? And so I think that there is something beneath the surface to them that just, you know, there is some aspect of insecurity to them. They're not just this wholly confident person. I think that they are insecure probably when it comes to, you know, like relationships and truly like trusting people. And I think it is just because of some sort of probably past trauma, if I had to guess. But let's get some other cards. Hold on, I just took off a thing. Let's get some other cards. I'm gonna get some Cards Against Humanity cards. So I'm gonna get some actually about their, you know, cards to give me their vibe, like their energy. And I was already getting that a little bit, you know, from just the cards that came out. Puppy dog, cute puppy dog. They're very in tune with their emotional side also, let me say. Let's see, some more cards about pile two's person, you know, like maybe what they look like. Some cards about their external energy or just their presence. So we have teaching a robot to love. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that card, that's so interesting. That's so interesting because I'm pretty sure with that card, like the energy that I was implying when I chose that card to put in a deck, this deck, is that, you know, this is a person that maybe they don't really show their emotions very much, or maybe they're like one of the people who they have like they have a very detached looking face. They're not very emotive. They're not very expressive. But I'm feeling like this person is very expressive. But I think, you know, teaching a robot to love, and especially as I was just talking about this subconscious, probably relationship trauma that they had, I think that it may just be, they're very expressive of their emotions, but not when it comes to real emotional vulnerability with relationships. So maybe they're very expressive when they're talking about their dreams, and they're very expressive when they're talking about, you know, like obstacles that they've overcome in their personal life. Maybe even things like, you know, if their parents got divorced or something. So they're open about that stuff, but they're not going to be open about, you know, like, I really have a crush on you, or yeah, there's just some sort of like, I think that they would be open to saying that, or they'd be expressive about it, but I think that it would only be after they decide that they trust you as a person, and probably also after they learn that you like them back. I think that they're, you know, they're a confident person in themselves, but I think that they just, yeah, in the relationship dynamic specifically, there's just some experience that left them feeling burnt, that left them feeling like they're just, like, you know, maybe there's just not simply a lot of hope when it comes to romantic connections with them, or just something that's leaving them a little apprehensive, something that's causing them to not be as emotionally expressive towards you in the beginning as you would have thought that they'd be. Because they are like an open book besides this, but yeah, they do have, yeah, just some sort of like, some sort of past trauma, but I think that, yeah, they're gonna learn to trust you. But I think that you are being encouraged to like give them little signals to show them that you like them back, because I think that they'd be really receptive to that. They're the type of person where it's like, if you just like, you know, if you don't smile at them, they'll be like, oh, I guess that they don't actually like me that way. I guess we'll just be friends. And you know, they'll like try to think that about that as happily as they can, but you know, they'll still just like, they read into those things a little too much when it comes to romantic relationships specifically. And then a balanced breakfast. So yeah, I think that this person, they take care of their body. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they like work out. I'm getting the vibe that they could like go on runs consistently, like specifically runs, or they could be that type of person like be into like like triathlons or something. Like I feel like they run, but they could also definitely be into like biking or something. But I'm feeling like they could have some sort of like very muscular type energy, very athletic type energy. Passive aggressive post-it notes, that's interesting. That came out for the other pile too, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that's just basically talking about how I think they're not going to be they're going to be pretty passive. So, okay, that's interesting though, because no, they're so expressive. So they're going to be passive when it comes to your relationship in the very beginning. And maybe that'll help you sort of realize who this person is. Because it's going to be someone who you would think that, it's going to be someone that you would assume that if they had a crush on someone, that they would go after it confidently. And so maybe that makes you think, oh, this person probably doesn't like me because they're not, you know, super strongly coming towards me. But I think that it's just because they don't know, yeah, like they don't know how far to take it. Because even like this isn't, it's weird too, because this is an energy of an ex for a lot of you guys. And so even if it's an ex energy, so it's someone who like does sort of know you somewhat, it's, Yeah, I think that they're a little afraid. They're a little afraid or apprehensive about like restarting something again because, even if this is someone from the past, there was, it's from someone from the past, so it had to have ended at some point, and they're a little apprehensive about you being willing to let it, move forward in the future. So they're a little, definitely a little sneaky about that. I think that that's, yeah, so that's the sneaky energy too. They're just not really wanting to let on how much they like you because I think that they're a little afraid of you not liking them back, and they don't really want to they don't want to, I don't know, they don't want to rock the boat with that, and it is a little bit of like insecurity popping out, which is so interesting to see because they're very confident as a person. But I mean, I think that they do, yeah, they're insecure when it comes to relationships, and I think that they're insecure about not being, worthy in relationships, and I think that that could also be a little bit also why it's really hard for them because they are so naturally like confident, or at least now they're very confident in themselves, and so it's hard for them to put themselves into, a situation where they could be potentially not confident and a little insecure about themselves. But let's get another about, let's see, yeah, I want to get one more about like their appearance, pile two's person's appearance. So we have extremely tight pants. Yeah, I think that they look good. They look very attractive. They're very fit and they know it. And so this isn't like, even if they're like curvy, I think that they're muscular. Like they put energy into upholding the body that they have, or having a body look the way that it looks, or even it's like, even if they don't put energy into it, into making it look that way, they put energy into, adorning it, or like they put energy into thinking about it basically. So even if this is like someone who doesn't work out ever, there's someone who just sort of naturally loves their body and is appreciative of it and wants to like, wear nice clothing that accentuate it. Yeah, let's get some others. I have some other Cards Against Humanity cards that are more about like, their energy as a person. Yeah, so they definitely have like a poker face in the beginning when it comes to how much they like you. And even if this is someone like on Tinder, it's like maybe you guys are like talking on Tinder, but they're just still not letting on how much they genuinely do like you. Maybe they're like, oh, maybe this person just sees us as just like a little like chill like Tinder hookup or something, and they don't really like me that much. So you're being encouraged to, yeah, like just give them little like flirty signs because they are I think they're a very flirty person too. And I think that they're super receptive to signs of flirtiness in other people. So just little things like that will be like ways to help them feel confident enough to like make a move and progress this connection forward. Let's get some more cards for pile number 2's person who they'll be in a relationship with next. Pile 2's person who they'll be in a relationship with next. Yeah, I think this person likes to wear nice looking clothes too. Oh, we also got this for pile 1. A pangender octopus who roams the cosmos in search of love. So you guys could be gay. Take what resonates. That's definitely what I was going for with that card. But also, that maybe they could have a very androgynous look because I am getting a very beautiful mix of masculine and feminine energy for them. I think they're very confident in both their masculine and feminine energies. And even if this is like someone who identifies as a man, I think that they have a very strong feminine side. And they're probably like, they could even predominantly have a feminine side. And then we get wifely duties. Yeah, I think that it's gonna be funny because they're gonna both like want to provide for you, but they also just have like a very naturally like nurturing feminine energy to them. So they're gonna want to yeah, they'll nurture you and they'll provide for you. They'll like, they'll want to like bring you things and provide like they'll want to bring that same beautiful energy that they have in their life into your life. So that same energy of just, wanting to eat the best foods, wanting to experience great experiences, just that sort of like innate positivity that they've been able to curate in their life, they want to be able to bring it into your life. But it is still in like very much like a feminine sort of way. They really are like, they're gonna have a very like motherly, nurturing energy to them in your guys' relationship. Let's get some other stuff. Let's get 3 more cards, or 2 more cards, just to make it even. Let's get 2 more cards for pile 2's person. 2 more cards for pile 2's person. So we have the American Dream. Yeah, so they're gonna really, that is their entire energy, that they're hopeful for the future, but they're also, they're content with where they're at. They're happy with where they're at, but they're also so excited for the future. They're not, they're not the type of person who's really apprehensive about getting where they want to be. They're the type of person who's excited about the potential of getting where they want to be. They're the type of person to like be excited about the college application process because it means college is starting, new opportunities. They're not going to be worried about it working out for them. They're just going to be excited at the potential of the new opportunity. Genuine human connection. This is what they look for, genuine human connection. And I think that, they're the type of person, they really, like, they're a lover. They love relationships, and I think that they love being in relationships, but only with people that they truly connect with. And I think that that's almost why whatever bad relationships they were in the past, they did sort of like haunt them a little bit, because I mean they're such genuine people, and they feel like they found other genuine people to be in connections with, but then like the rug was pulled out from under them, and they realized that actually this person didn't care about them, and they were not the genuine person that they thought that they were. And so there's just some sort of like specific distrust when it comes to relationships. I think that this person trust people fine when it comes to friendships, but, specifically relationships, and that sort of, because it's like, it's, in their eyes, it's like, I like became one with you. They're like, I gave my entire soul and being to you. I was willing to, just completely merge my life with yours and find ultimate happiness. And it's like I was willing to care about you as much as I care about myself. And then they were hit with the brutal realization that this other person was not willing at all to do that for them. And they just weren't expecting that. And so it really left a sour taste in their mouth when it came to relationships. But okay, I think I am going to leave it there, pile number 2. If you like this reading, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Have a nice day or night whenever you're watching this. Bye, guys. Hey, pile 3, if you chose the Justice card, this will be your pile, all about who you will be in a relationship with next. So I'm going to start off by reading the little poem that is here on the card. So it says, Newton's third law: for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Lunar gravity pulls earthly tides, cause and effect, boomerang. What you put out always comes back. The natural order, an Empyrean scorecard, so please return the stupid shopping cart. It only takes a moment. And then there's a little picture of the shopping cart. So I'm getting a very like wise energy from your person. I don't know if you guys like actually would consider maybe this person will actually be like a little older, or maybe they'll actually be like middle-aged or something. But they have like the wisdom of someone who's like middle-aged for sure. Like they have a very mature old soul type energy to them. It is giving me a little bit of like they're wise, they know the right things to do, and so not like superiority complex, but I feel like they do feel like above a lot of like just sort of like the little silly mundane things that people care about. Like I think that they do have like an attitude of like, I'm above like getting upset over petty things, or I'm above, having people in my life who like only want to use me for reasons. I think that they have, yeah, a very mature energy, probably because they've had a lot of life lessons, my guess is. So they've been through some harsh things, but they've, successfully learned the lessons from those things. And so now they just live life very wisely. And yeah, so it's like it's very much like a no bullshit sort of attitude. But not like they're very harsh about it. They're giving me like sort of like a mellow, almost like an academic professor vibe, like quiet, insular, like, they think about things, but they're not like so quiet, but they're just, they're not like a super loud, obnoxious sort of person. They're more mellow and, they'll speak when they need to say something. They're not going to speak just to fill silence and space. But let's get some cards about who this person is, if you know them yet or not. So pile three, and I'm going to call them your person just because it's easier than saying the person you'll be in a relationship with next. So pile three's person, who is this person that pile three is going to be in a relationship with next? Is this someone new, someone from their past? Who is this person? Who's this person going to be to them? So we have the Nine of Pentacles. Interesting. All right, we'll get some more cards. So we have the Nine of Pentacles. Who is this person? Eight of Swords. Okay. Nine of Pentacles, Eight of Swords. Let's get some more cards. Who is this person? Ooh, these two cards just like crazily flew out. Wow. So we have Queen of Wands. We have Queen of Wands. So we have Queen of Wands and, oh my god, so I thought that was the Queen of Pentacles, but it's the Nine of Pentacles. That's so funny. Well, we have the Queen of Wands, and then we have Judgment, which is so interesting because this is justice. And honestly, Judgment and Justice give me very similar energy to each other. So I'm going to get actually some clarifier cards for all of these tarot cards. So can I get a clarifier for the Nine of Pentacles, please? Clarifier for the Nine of Pentacles. So we have Pan, which is death. Can I get a clarifier for the Eight of Swords? Five of Wands. Interesting. Okay. Can I get a clarifier for the Queen of Wands? The Moon. Interesting. Then can I get a clarifier for Judgment? Ooh, okay, so Judgment clarified by the Ten of Wands. So that is very interesting because I am being called, let me just scooch my body. I'm being called to notice how we have the Five of Wands and then the Ten of Wands. So, the wands double. The burden does not get lighter, it gets a little harder. So I feel like, no, this is not, I don't think this is a past person, but I think this is someone that it's going to be a little annoying to come into a relationship with them. And I guess it's just because they do have the energy of being a little bit above things. I think, not to say that you're going to need to prove yourself, but I think that they're going to really need to, judge you to be someone that is worthy of being in a relationship with them. And not to sound harsh, but, I think that this person, they just have, they've learned harsh lessons. They've been a little bit, I don't want to say like desensitized to it, but like a little bit. They've been desensitized to a lot of like, the emotional connection about like, oh my gosh, could this be someone that I'll be in a relationship with? They're very detached emotionally. But they're like in touch with their emotions, but they're just very, very good at like releasing their emotions and looking at what they judge to be the objective truth. And so I think it's just going to be, they'll need to really prove that your guys' connection and you specifically are someone who can handle the mature type of connection that they want. They don't want someone who's codependent. They don't want someone who's I guess they don't want someone who's going to reinvent cycles that they've already closed. They've already learned lessons in the past about boundaries and about only, giving what you can and, unconditional love. They've learned a lot about how to validate their emotions without being consumed by them. And so they like you and they're going to know that they like you, but they're also going to know that just because they like you does not mean that that is grounds for thinking this is going to be a healthy, good, long-term relationship. And I think they are wanting something stable and something healthy. Emphasis on the healthy. They want something that is going to make it easy for them to keep this balance in their life. And I don't think that they're really expecting to find that very easily. And so I think it is going to take a little bit before you guys do actually ground this into a relationship. But I don't think this is really someone from the past. It could be, someone who you knew of vaguely, just sort of in the vicinity of your energetic field, but I don't think that this is anyone that you had any sort of overly, emotional connection with in the past. I don't even think that this is really, a friend. At most, this could be an acquaintance that you've known for a little bit, but this isn't someone that you know super well, but it's someone that you're going to have to learn about super well, or you're going to learn about each other super well, and in that process, they're gonna realize, oh, hey, no, this person, they are basically on equal footing as me. They are my equal. And I think that's gonna really impress them because they do think of themselves, it's not cocky or arrogance, really. It's they're really validating themselves. They're I know I've been through stuff in the past. I know I was very much more immature in the past, but now I've learned lessons and I know boundaries and I'm much more wise and mature these days. And so they're really going to be impressed that you also have that energy. But a little bit more obscurely, or discreetly. You're not going to be so outright with it. I feel like this person's outward energy, when you see them, you're gonna people know that this person feels like they're mature and wise, people are not going to think that this is someone who thinks very lowly of themselves. People can tell that this person thinks pretty highly of themselves and that this person has a lot of respect for themselves. This person has a lot of self-respect that's very obvious to other people. And I think that, not to say that your self-respect isn't obvious, but just to say that maybe you have more of a lighthearted energy or more free-spirited energy, less of a serious energy about you, and so maybe this person just sort of assumes that you're going to be less serious of a person, but no, you're going to prove to them that, hey, fun-loving, quirky, affable, approachable people can also, have a very firm head on their shoulders. So that's nice. But let's get into the juice of it. Let's get some cards, some little apples to apples cards about who this person is. Actually, these aren't the ones I want to start with. I want to start with these. So let's get some cards about who this person is, their personality. Let's get some cards about pile 3's person's personality. Pile 3's person's personality. So we have smart. Yeah, they're a very intelligent person, highly intellectual. I wouldn't be surprised if they have some sort of highly intellectual type of career. I do feel like, maybe this is a student, but if this is a student, they're majoring in something like philosophy or something like computer science, something highly intellectual, where they're able, I don't know, something highly intellectual that also gives them the, intellectual repertoire to be able to conduct themselves as if they're a working professional. I think that people, even if this someone is someone like factually young, even if they are like, you know, a 20-year-old in university, I think that they could have the aura, the energy of like a 30-year-old, like, you know, professor or academic. And so maybe people would meet them in the street and assume that they're a lot older with a job, but they're like, actually, no, I'm just a student studying this thing. I'm not a professional in this profession. Then we also have quiet. Yeah, I think that they're a more mellow person. They're pretty observant. They sit back and they let other people sort of do the talking for them. They're very, like, another part of their maturity is almost in like they know when to not speak. They know when them not speaking is going to just have the other person like make that person dig themselves into a hole. And you know, they have like the foresight to be able to say like, no, I'm not going to engage in a petty fight right now because I know that that will ultimately just feed into this person's, you know, ego complex about this argument. I shouldn't even engage with them to begin with. They have a very, you know, they know when to not speak. They know when they're honestly like above the conversation that they would be having. New. Yeah, so this isn't going to be like a new person. This is going to be a new connection. This is going to be someone who you don't have like, you're going to be new for them too, you know, because that's part of like the importance of you guys coming together is the fact that they didn't know you that well before, and so they did sort of underestimate you and your role in their life. But then they're like, oh no, not true at all. You're very important. And then we have dumb, which is silly and funny, considering smart is like right over here on the other side. So yeah, I think that I mean, okay, this person is so smart, they can be dumb sometimes. So this person is very smart in some like people ways, but then they can also be very silly and stupid in people ways. You know, this is definitely like a book smart person, but someone who could be considered not that street smart. So maybe this is someone who, yeah, like because they do like they're wise, but they also like I can't fight it. They definitely have a complex where they know they're wise and they're proud of it. And other people can detect that complex. And I think that, you know, their obsession or their preoccupation with their own wisdom leads them to just sort of forget that other people aren't as obsessed with wisdom as they are, you know, and other people, maybe sometimes people do just act out of emotion or insecurity or ego or something like that. And this person almost like forgets about it because they're like, oh, I'm so wise, I know everything, that they like forget to be empathetic and sympathetic with like just the average Joes that they meet. And so that's definitely a very interesting message that's coming out. I think that you could be like a very helpful bridge for them, you know, a bridge between, you know, the highly intellectual people who like think deep thoughts all day long, and then also like the people who are able to just like, you know, look at a cloud and say, oh my God, that cloud looks like a puppy, you know? Because I think this person likes to be very intellectual. I think that I mean, that's just naturally their energy, but I think that they do have to learn that even people who don't have a very sort of cynical, skeptical, intellectual outward appearance, they can still be, there are still people with as much, you know, rich inner world as they are, you know, and that as they have. Yeah. I mean, not to like rag on this person or anything. Like they are definitely very wise, but it's, you know, like they're almost too wise and they're very into how wise they are. Well, let's get some other cards as well. But like it's an objective fact. They are a very smart person. They're very talented. They'll probably, yeah, it's giving me the energy that they've had one thing, or like they're good at a lot of things, but they've just had one like obvious skill since they were little, and they're just like doing so well in it now. You know, it could be something like computer science. It could be something like, you know, like math or something like chemistry. Something that seems a little bit more STEMmy, I'll say. they are going to be the energy of a STEM person or a history. They're either into STEM or something like history. And yeah, and it's like ever since they were little, they knew they were obsessed with history, and that's what they majored in, and they know they're going to be a history professor, and they're going to get their PhD. And it's just like they're very impressive. They know themselves, and they're very impressive. They're very in touch, in tune with their own energy and their own path, and which is like a nice, interesting, different energy, because they're not really bogged down by like the potential of like all the different types of futures they could have. They really like, they're on their path, they know their path, and they're not really second guessing it at all. They're not like thinking, oh my gosh, should I be a computer scientist? They're like, yeah, I've been obsessed with computers since I was 8. This is just like the only thing I've ever thought about doing. So we have the friend zone. Okay, yeah, so that's talking about you guys are definitely going to have to be friends first, because yeah, there's again this energy that yeah, this person has like almost like a vetting process of people in their lives. And so like the first obstacle you have to get through is like friendship. You can't ever progress past friendship into like romantic relationship if you don't ever get to friendship first with this person. They need to be comfortable and trust you in a friend sort of way before they can let you have any other role in their life. And then we have date night. Yeah, so that's fun that that came out right after the friend zone, because I think that once this person, like, I hate phrasing it this way, but once they decide, or that, you know, you are like this person that they could be in a healthy relationship with, once they decide you're worthy, and not to say that you wouldn't have been worthy if you weren't, but like, once they decide that you're the type of person that they can truly be in a healthy relationship with, they'll be very forward with asking you out. They'll be like, hey, you know what? This person is not very shameful. They don't have that much shame in what they say. They'll say, like, even the things, like, even if it's something like maybe a little like snappy or like judgmental of someone else, like they'll just say it, like whatever's on their mind, they'll be blunt and they'll say it. And so they'll come up to you, they'll be like, hey, you know what, honestly, I think like you're pretty cool. I think that we would hit it off. Would you want to go on a date with me sometime? Like they would have no problem with saying that to your face. And then we have my subconscious. That came out for the other piles too. Yeah, so I think that I don't know. I think honestly, this is more like this person knows their subconscious. This person knows that they would have an emotional attachment to people that they wouldn't necessarily have a healthy connection with. And so they're really scared and apprehensive about not bringing these subconscious feelings to the conscious level. They're very worried about that. And so they're hyper aware almost of, you know, the lessons that could be learned in connections. So they know that they could have some sort of subconscious attraction to you just because maybe you're really pretty, or maybe they think you're funny, or maybe they're just even lonely. You know, there are a whole bunch of possibilities as to why they could potentially have an unhealthy connection to you and your potential romantic relationship. So they have to hash that out first before they can engage in a romantic relationship with you. They have to make sure that they're not pursuing you for these ulterior subconscious motives. They have to make sure that it's pure on their part, honestly. And that's where it boils down to, like, the worthiness, you know? They don't really trust their emotions, if I'm being honest. They prefer objective truths. They don't like their emotions. And so they would prefer to get to know you and to almost like take data on how much they can trust you and how good of a person you could be, or how good of a potential partner you could be. And then based on that data, they're like, okay, now I will allow myself to feel my emotions for this person. Let's get one more card. So we also have low-hanging fruit. That's so funny. Yeah, so they want to make sure that they're not just going for the low-hanging fruit. That's what their biggest fear is in your relationship, and just in general, like in their life. They don't want to sell themselves short, and they don't want to, you know, they've made such effort discovering these boundaries. They don't want to like step back on any of that progress. So they're very, like, every move that they make in their future is like made with the thought of like, you know, how can I apply these past lessons to this situation? So, you know, in taking a job, they're like, is this a job that I think the environment's going to treat me well? Is it going to pay me right? Is it going to give me the flexibility I deserve? Is it going to allow me for a good work-life balance? Yeah. So let's get some, so, oh, actually, I'm pulling the wrong cards. Let's see if we can get anything about their, you know, appearance. Yeah, let's get some things about their appearance. I have some Cards Against Humanity cards. So let's get some stuff about their appearance. Pile 3's person's appearance. What they look like, or just like their aura, their energy. For some reason, like, this person could have long hair. That's just the energy that's making a pouty face. Yeah. So when I chose this card for the deck, I had it with like resting bitch face in mind. And so yeah, I think that that could definitely be this person. They could definitely outwardly appear pretty apathetic, pretty emotionless, because they're just sort of like absorbing their surroundings. They're like, yeah, they're observing things. They're not like preoccupied, or they're not like, they're not trying to react to things. They're just trying to like passively absorb information about what's going on around them. Oh, and these cards just keep flying everywhere. Oh, I don't know why. We'll find out when we see the cards that actually decide to come out. So let's see some other cards for this person's appearance. Yeah, so they'll appear pretty apathetic. They're not going to be very emotional in their, or expressive in their facial expressions. They could have resting bitch face. Morgan Freeman's voice, so they could have a very nice voice, I think that they have a very, they could have a low voice, but I think that they also really just have a soothing voice, a quieter voice. A voice that's on the quieter side. It's very calming, though. It's like almost like the voice that you would stereotypically assume that they would have. It's like, I think that they have probably like a very rich voice, but yeah, volume-wise, not very loud, but it's like, yeah, soothing, calming. So let's get another card. So we got a tribe of warrior women. So this person, I feel like there could definitely be like, this is so random, like, you know, like a libertarian or something. Like, this is someone who really cares about like individuality and freedom and self-freedom and like, you know, discovering what's important for you and standing by that strongly. And so I feel like that they're also probably like a very strong feminist. They could have been raised by a very strong mother figure. And then we have extremely tight pants. Yeah, so this person, this is so funny. This is giving me like hipster vibes, you know, like the stereotypical like millennial type hipster though, of like the skinny jeans, sweater, scarf, and like, you know, big chunky glasses and like man bun or something. Yeah, so they could be like hipster. They could like have the energy of like, you know, like barista vibe, like that, like a hip barista vibe. That's the energy that they give me. Yeah, so they could have long hair, curly-ish hair. If they're able to grow facial hair, I think that they could definitely have facial hair. A little scruffier of an appearance. Yeah, but it's like I'm getting that they would like thrift clothes, but like nice looking clothes. I'm getting that they're into like, they look chic, they look nice, they look put together, but they don't look like expensive. But they have like their own style, their own like brand almost of like clothings and stuff that they like to wear. But like it's not like overly expensive, overly indulgent, but it's just sort of like almost like highly personalized to them. I feel like they could really be the type to thrift, or just like they don't buy clothes that much, but when they do buy clothes, it's because they really like connect with and are obsessed with the clothing. Let's get some other just personality traits about pile 3's future spouse. The person they're in a relationship with next. Genuine human connection, yeah. So they want genuine human connection. So they're waiting. They're gonna suss you out, and they'll wait and see if you have that genuine aspect that they need, and not even just genuineness. Like, it's like, it's so specific. They know that they're looking for a very specific type of person because they need someone who's not only very self-aware, but someone whose soul, who's self-aware, stripped down, genuine soul is very similar and complementary to their own. And they do have a little bit niche of an energy, not gonna lie. And so, like, they value genuine human connection. They probably haven't been in many relationships in the past. Or since learning any lessons from relationships, they've gradually put themselves in less and less relationships. They've been stricter and stricter with it. And then we have the American dream. So honestly, that's giving me the vibes that this person is almost like above the American dream. Or it's like, you know, they don't really believe in it. I feel like they're more like, they are a little cynical in that respect. I feel like they don't like the idea of people just sort of like seeing the US as like a beacon of hope and just like coming here and like expecting everything to be beautiful and everything to go their way. When in reality, like the US is like a crumbling capitalistic society. And so I feel like that's sort of talking about like their disillusionment with lighter, less serious energies. I think that they're a very deeply serious person, and they don't like people and things that only have a dreamy energy. They like things to be grounded. They like feeling like that things can be practical. I think that they have a lot of air energy, but I think that they also have a lot of earth energy. And then we also have the female orgasm. You guys, so the sexual dynamic is going to be a real sexual dynamic here, which is interesting because I feel like, okay, this could be really just for some, take what resonates. You guys or they could really be into like some kinky stuff. And so I think because they, you know, maybe they have had sexual relationships and so they may be a very sexually liberated person, but just not very, you know, they haven't had very many like emotional, like romantic relationships. But I think that, yeah, they're very experimental, sexually, I believe. I think, yeah, they're very awakened in that sense. I think that they're willing to try a lot of things because they're very in touch with themselves. They know what they want, they know what makes them happy, and they're just sort of, they're waiting to see if anyone can match that and if anyone can, like, see their energy and be okay with it and match that energy. So let's get one more card. But yeah, because I don't think that, like, I mean, this person isn't like overly obsessed with like sex because you guys are gonna have like a friendship first. It's not gonna be sexual, or maybe it even is, you know, for some of you. But I mean, I feel like they think of sex in a very detached way. Sex for them really is not that like much of a romantic emotional connection. It's like a pleasurable thing that they experience. So they're definitely the type that could have very nonchalant, casual sexual flings with people. And then we have my soul. They're a deep person. They love deep intellectual conversations, and I think that's what's gonna like be the defining point of your guys' relationship because it is like, you know, they have sexual relationships with other people, and maybe they even have genuine friendships with other people, but they have yet to find someone that they were able to have, you know, this beautiful joint, like, genuine friendship and also like sexually liberated relationship with. And so I think your relationship's going to be a game changer because it's like, wow, this is someone I can have incredible intellectual deep conversations with, but then also have like mind-blowing sex with. Oh, so they're gonna, yeah, they're gonna love that. But okay, pile 3, I am going to leave this reading here because it has been so long. Oh, if you like that reading though, feel free to like, comment, subscribe though. Definitely recommend subscribing so that I can get connected to your energy that much more and so that you guys can stay up to date on when I'm, you know, doing more readings and such. But okay, pile 3, I am going to leave it there. Hope you have a very nice day or night whenever you're watching this. Bye, guys. Hey, pile 4, if you chose the moon, this will be your reading all about who you will be in a relationship with next. So first I'm going to start it off by reading this little poem that's there. So it says, Dark and quiet, or is it? A pile of dirty clothing casts suspicious shadows. A symphony of nocturnal dreams, nocturnal creaks and squeaks ordinarily. Oh my god, my foot. Sorry, guys. I'm so distracted reading this. Let's start over. Dark and quiet, or is it? A pile of dirty clothing casts suspicious shadows. A symphony of nocturnal creaks and squeaks ordinarily drowned under the noise of the day. Resist the urge to turn on the light. There is much to be learned in the dark. You don't need to see, feel. So that's like a very intense energy. You don't need to see, feel. I think this person is deeply, deeply emotional. Heavy water energy. Very just, yeah, very emotional. The moon is, I believe, I think the moon actually may be Pisces, which is weird because it always reminds me of Cancer because Cancer is ruled by the moon. But, so yeah, you guys, Pisces or Cancer could be their sign. Yeah, like, it's giving me, like, you know, brooding and mysterious vibes, really, that, this card, because it's all about, I mean, it's, you know, just talks about the darkness and, like, you know, the pile of suspicious clothing, or the shadow, the suspicious shadow from the clothing. Yeah, I mean, it's all, like, it's about the dark and nighttime. There's not a lot to go off of, except for this person. Yeah, I mean, you're going to be drawn to them. There's going to be some sort of, like, elusive nature to them. You know, they are going to seem pretty, like, dark and mysterious, even if they quite literally are, like, pale with blonde hair. You know, there's going to be something that's a little, something that's a little edgier about them that attracts you, or just something that's definitely a little unknown. So, you know, maybe even if they're, like, a very friendly person, maybe they're just the type of person that they don't speak that much, or maybe they'll say something, but maybe they'll say something, but they always have, like, a little smirk whenever they say it. So you're like, oh my god, what? Like, do you know something that I don't? What does that mean? Why do you have a smirk right now? So there's just something very, very unknown about them, something very elusive about them, but also, like, that draws you into them. Like, they have a little bit of, like, a sneaky energy, I must say. Like, you know, not, like, genuinely, but it feels like, you know, they're very emotional, and I feel like it could have been a case of, like, you know, they see the world as, you know, me versus them, or, you know, us versus them, but basically, like, them versus the world. And so I think that they're just, like, you know, they're used to just, like, thinking inside their head and keeping everything in, and just sort of having these almost, like, sneaky little moments with the world around them. You know, maybe it's just like, you know, they're writing something down for you, but then as they're writing it down, they think of, you know, something funny, similar to what they're writing or something, and it, like, makes them smile and chuckle, and you're like, oh, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, nothing. Or you're like, oh, why are you smiling? And they're like, oh, nothing. And it's not, like, you know, they're not going to tell you, and it's not because, you know, they're actually sneaky, but it's just because, you know, they're, like, living in their own little bubble almost, and so it feels like the people around them keep trying to, like, uncover that bubble, or, like, infiltrate it, you know, light up the darkness, so to speak. They keep trying to, you know, turn on the light and see what's there for themselves. But this person, like, very much, like, won't even show them where the light is. They're like, no, I won't let you guys in. So yeah, a lot of elusive nature to them, but, like, it's almost, like, caused by them. You know, they like feeling a little sneaky. They like feeling like they know things that other people don't. They like having, like, banter with themselves, that and, like, inside jokes that, like, just other people, like, are completely unaware of. It makes them feel like they're, you know, like a sneaky little player in a video game or something. But let's get some cards about who this person is. Specifically, I want to know, you know, if you know them, or if this is a new person completely. I don't know what I do with this British accent. It's like scary old lady British accent. Reminds me of, like, an evil godmother, an evil grandmother. Okay, but anyway, so let's see. Pile 3, pile 4. Pile 4. Who is pile 4's next relationship? Who are they going to be in a relationship with next? Is it going to be a new person, An old person? Neither. So we have the Queen of Swords coming out immediately. Alright, so give it some more energy. So who is this person? Do they know this person? Who is this person that the High is going to be in a relationship with? The Moon person. Ooh, so we have the Lovers that came out. Interesting. So we have the Lovers, and we have the Seven of Swords. Okay, interesting. Which that card is very interesting because it really reminds me of the Wands. And then we have the Hermit. Okay, I'm gonna get clarifiers for each of these cards. So hold your horses. I'm gonna get clarifiers. So a clarifier for the Queen of Swords, please. So who is this person? What is their energy in their life? So the clarifier is, oh my god, the Queen of Swords clarified by the Page of Swords. Interesting. Okay, so can you, let's get a clarifier for the Lovers. Get a clarifier for the Lovers. Which, like, that Lovers tarot card is so funny to me. It's just, like, this guy, like, with long hair and, like, holding hands with, like, this woman who looks like she's, like, just, like, mid-sentence. And he's just, like, staring at her like, yeah. It's so funny. And then, okay, the Lovers clarified by the King of Swords. This is so interesting. This is literally giving me vibes of, like, a family. King of Swords, Queen of Swords, and then their child, the Page of Swords. That's so funny. Let's keep going. I want to get all the other cards before I relay the messages. So let's get a clarifier for the Seven of Swords. Lots of Swords energy too, which is interesting because I don't, of all the air signs, maybe this person would be like an Aquarius, or maybe they're a Gemini actually, because we do have the Lovers there. And the Moon, a little bit about, the uncovering the dark side of the Moon. That could be a little bit, similar as, Gemini, because Geminis, notoriously, stereotypically have those two sides of them. And so for clarifier of Seven of Swords, we have the Fool. Interesting. And let's get a clarifier for the Hermit. The Hermit clarified by the King of Cups. Interesting. All right, hold on. I'm gonna keep, looking at this energy. Hold on. Hey guys, sorry I'm back. I had to, look up the Seven of Swords really quickly because this card always confuses me so much because it really feels like the Eight of Wands. And so it confuses me about the message, but I mean, I think that's on purpose. So I feel like this is someone that you could have really had a false start with in the past. I don't know if it was like full-blown relationship or anything. It could have been for some of you. This could be like a real through and through ex for some of you. But I think it was someone who ultimately sort of like dropped you, or someone who like sort of left you out in the cold. It was someone who sort of had to make the decision, what to do in this situation with this connection, and they chose to sort of like sit down and like let it pass them by. We also have, so the Seven of Swords, the Seven of Swords talks about, like missteps and assuming that, you have the right way to go, the right way forward, but then actually like realizing you didn't even see this trap that you're walking right into. But the fact that it like, I thought it's felt like the Eight of Wands at first, which talks about, quick communication and speed. And then it's clarified by the Fool. So I think that this person is wanting to start something new. So I think this is someone who is like, I think that you probably do know them in some capacity. And if you don't know them at all yet, then I think that this is speaking about when you guys come together. I think that there's going to be some period where they sort of like think, oh no, like this isn't, or either like this relationship isn't for me, or I shouldn't be pursuing a relationship right now, or there's in your connection at some point there is some separation that's caused by them. They had to make the choice, but it's not like, I'm not getting a lot of like brutal ex energy, like I'm just getting sort of like they detached, they cut off their energy, or they cut off your guys' energy from each other for a little period. Like they made one choice and then they made like the opposite choice, you know, and they cut off your energy, and then, you know, maybe you guys took like a month-long break, and then they messaged you and they were like, hey, actually, no, like I've decided I really do want to like give this a chance and try to have a relationship together. And so this could either be someone, you know, someone very faintly from your past, yeah, someone from your past who sort of like cut off the connection themselves, or this could also be talking about this being a new person, and this is just something that they're going to do. And so you can, you know, maybe that could be one of the ways that you can identify this person. You know, you could be like, maybe you're talking to someone on Tinder and then all of a sudden they just sort of like ghost you and they don't talk, and your conversations just sort of end. But then maybe like a month later, you know, they come back. And it's not like they're going to just assume everything's fine, but they're going to come back and be like, hey, sorry, I had to take some time for myself, but like now like I've decided like I really do want to like invest the time and energy into this connection. Like you want to give it another shot. So yeah, it could be also talking about them just doing that, but regardless, there's going to be some sort of like little separation. So I think that this person is, I don't know, they have a lot of complex energy. They are the moon. There's a lot of like, it's reminding me of the quote from Shrek, about like people being, or like ogres being like onions. They have a lot of layers. It's giving me that sort of energy. Like they're the moon. They have a lot of are a lot of layers in themselves. And so they just sort of did need to like peel back their energy and have time to sort of like understand the layers of themselves and this connection and like what it would be meaning, if, you know, they pursued it. So that's who that person is. Let's get some cards about their personality. These are apples to apples cards, and so we're gonna find out a little bit about pile 4's personality. They're very deeply complex person, so I'm excited to see what comes out, because it's hard for me to tap into this energy. I gotta be real. I wasn't gonna do the 4th group, but I felt like 4 needed to be done. And, you know, in the beginning, not gonna lie, I was like, oh, maybe this energy isn't that, like, it's not that defined. Maybe I shouldn't have done the 4th group, but I think it is a defined energy. It's just it's an energy that's very hard to uncover. It's hard to unearth all of the complexities of this, because they really are the moon person, you know? They have a lot of layers, and, you know, layers that you don't even really realize are there, you know? You think you reached the last layer, but then you peel it back and you find another layer, and they didn't even know it was there. So let's see. Let's get some information about pile 4's person who they'll be in a relationship with next. We have 4 cards perfectly. We have interesting. They're going to be an interesting person. I love how vague that is. Yep, they're going to have layers for sure. Cold. So they're going to they could come off as cold because they do have that, you know, moon energy. And so I think that they have a lot of layers to themselves, and I don't think they quite understand their layers. And so they're a little apprehensive about readily exposing those layers to other people. I think that they're quite literally incapable of it too. They don't know how to be vulnerable in a lot of the senses, because they don't even understand what it is they have to be vulnerable about. And lazy, that's a funny one to come out. It says slow or careless. So honestly, that's giving me the energy that maybe they're just like, you know, they could be a lazy person, but I think that mostly they're very insular. They're not going to put in the effort to really explain themselves to other people. They're going to let themselves be the moon person. Yeah, so it's that like sort of sneaky energy of, you know, like having a smirk, having an inside joke with themselves that no one else knows about or knows of. And, you know, like, and they're not going to tell people, you know, maybe people even literally ask, but they're just simply not going to feel like it. They don't feel like explaining themselves to other people. They know they have a lot of emotional complexities, and they know that people don't always react wonderfully to such emotionally complex people. And so they're really just, they're not interested in telling people things about them when those things could potentially have a negative reaction to them. So we also have lovable. Yeah, they're lovable. I mean, which I think that card's coming out specifically because I think that they may feel a little unlovable, just because of how complex they are. They feel like, there are a little too many layers to them, and they feel like there are too many layers, and the layers that I have, they're a little too complex, and I don't even know some of the layers I have too, and so, yeah, they're a little insecure about that, but I mean, they're a really commendable person, like they have layers, they have complexities, and they're not aware of them to every extent, but they're aware that they're not aware of them, like they're putting in the work to understand themselves. I think that they've probably had like a very complex upbringing in childhood, probably a lot of, complex sorts of expectations were put on them, combined with their own expectations. And so I think that they just have they have a lot of sort of like ego-based 3D attachment to things, or like noise surrounding their emotions and their actions and their beliefs. They have, a lot of noise from the 3D world, from this, capitalistic existence. But they know that noise is there because of these external factors. They know that actually their anxiety in their job is just because they feel like they need to be doing more constantly. But they also know that they shouldn't really be feeling that way, because they should just go there and do their job and not make it anything more than a job, because it's just their job. And so they know that they have all of these like deep, complex emotional states that they're almost like a psychological slave to, because you can't really control like your psyche. But they're also like, they're actively trying to work through it, and they're actively trying to do the best they can with the information that they have, So, maybe they slip up sometimes and they find themselves overgiving in a job that doesn't deserve it, but then they're like, oh, okay, I remember now. I'm actually just doing this because this is what's expected of me of society, and this is what like my parents taught me I should do in a job. I should overwork myself, and so I should take a step back and relax a little bit. They're good at trying to catch themselves. They're not wholly self-aware, but they're on like that most beautiful part of the journey where they're gaining self-awareness. They're self-aware of the fact that they're not completely self-aware, and so it's just sort of opening up the floodgates for them to be able to step confidently into that self-awareness, and to know who they are, and to understand all of those layers, so that they could trust when someone else says that they see and understand those layers and still love them for it. So let's get some more cards, some more apples to apples cards. Then we got I get some more interesting information about them. Yeah, they're gonna be, they're like a teddy bear, they're very emotional. They're very sensitive, very sensitive. Let's get some cards about pile 4's person they're going to be in a relationship with next. Pile 4's person they're going to be in a relationship with next. Pile 4's person they're going to be in a relationship. My worst habit. Okay. So I think that's just about them kind of, it goes along with this laziness, them just simply not wanting to open up. I think that that's going to be a little hurdle in the beginning, and maybe that's a little bit what leads to this separation. I think that they can sense themselves not truly opening up to you. They can sense themselves just sort of having that same sort of sneaky energy that they have with other people, where they're they'll have inside jokes, and they won't care enough to share the inside jokes with you. And so I think that they sort of they realize that they're embodying that energy initially when you guys meet or something. And so, another reason why they pull back, because they need to they need to think about it, it does sort of trigger them in a way. They need to realize, and they do realize, in real time during the beginning of your guys' connection, they realize, hey, actually, I think that I'm almost like purposely secluding myself off from people. And I think they realize that, like, yeah, I can have inside jokes with myself, but also I need to recognize that I'm purposefully alienating myself by purposefully not telling these inside jokes to other people. And I know that, like, I keep, using that one example over and over again, but it's just because it's easy and I already thought of it, so I might as well. But it could be something also of, like, maybe it's just, they're the type of person that never asks for help. Maybe someone's like, let's have a really mundane example. Maybe they're, trying to pump up their bike tires and they just simply can't really get it. And other people ask for help and they're always saying no. And then they meet you and they're like, oh my gosh, like, you guys have like some sort of spark, some sort of like instant attraction to each other. But then you ask them for help and they still say, no, that's okay. And then they realize, oh wait, I think actually, like, I do need help, and I just met this person, and I like them, and I think that I can trust them to help me, but I'm still just automatically saying no. I wonder why I'm automatically saying no. Oh, it's actually because I am a little insecure at all of my depth and layers, that I don't want to open any of that up to other people because I don't want to give them the opportunity to make me feel insecure about myself. Oh, that was a mouthful. But yeah, so I think it's like that, They realized that they were sort of treating you. They realized that they were keeping you on the outskirts in the same way that they were keeping other people on the outskirts, but they didn't even realize that they were doing it before. It was only with you that they realized that they were really doing that. Before, I think that they were like, oh yeah, I'm just like really independent, and I just, love doing things by myself, and I love my inside jokes, blah blah blah. But now they're realizing, they're like, even if I told other people the inside joke, it would still be an inside joke with me. Like, it doesn't change the fact that I'm asking other people. Like, that doesn't change me and my inner state. It only changes the access that other people have to my inner state. And, it's not bad to limit other people's access to you, but I think that this person didn't realize until meeting you that they were limiting people's access on a subconscious level. Oh, so much complex energy. But alright, let's get some more cards. See if anything light wants to come out. Netflix. Yeah, something light wants to come out. Honestly, I'm getting this person could be like a film buff, which is like funny, like that message is coming out. Because, Netflix, obviously I had the intention of that with like Netflix and chill almost. But yeah, I think that they could definitely be like a film buff. I think that they love media. I think that it could really help them express and understand their emotions, and it helps them like feel their emotions for them, because they have such a complex inner emotional state. It almost gets like crosswired with each other, like their different emotions. So it's hard for them to understand each of their emotions and how they're feeling. So I think that movies and music and TV shows and stuff like that, where they're able to almost like experience someone else having such complex emotions, it helps them really sympathize and empathize with that person and almost like indirectly like feel their feelings for them. It helps them have an outlet for their emotions that's separate from like the context of their actual life. It helps them have like a third party indifferent sort of feeling of their emotions, instead of being like, oh, I'm sad and confused and frustrated because I'm not dating anyone right now. They don't understand those feelings inside of them, but then they watch a TV show where a character is going through that and they start to cry. And they're like, I wonder why I'm affected by this so much. And it's actually just because they resonate deeply with what that character is feeling. But they may not even realize it. Then we have captain of the football team. That's so interesting. Maybe that could be, Well, let's get one more card. That could be their energy, guys. I mean, so obviously take what resonates. This person may not have literally been the captain of a football team, but I mean, captains of football teams, they have that energy of, it's hyper masculinity. It's like, I can't let anyone into my emotional state. So I think that they could they could very much be like a man, assigned male at birth. They could identify as a man, and just feel those sort of like societal expectations on them of, needing to keep their emotions bottled up. And so I think that makes their like uncovering of their own emotional state that much harder, because they're like, just already societally they're told not to do that. But I think also, yeah, I think that this person just sort of, they're a lot more comfortable in their masculinity. They're a lot more comfortable with trying to go out and make things happen for themselves. They're not that comfortable with telling people things about their inner world, They're not that comfortable being in their feminine energy. They're not that comfortable creating things and then showing it to the world. Oh, my subconscious, that's what came out. And this was like the card I was thinking of, basically. Yeah, they have a lot on the subconscious level. And a lot that they're like in the process of uncovering. So like, yeah, for captain of the football team, I think that for the longest time they were just sort of taught to like not really validate their emotions, not understand them. I think that also just the fact that their emotions are so complex, it made it very like exhausting and fatiguing for them to think about it, and so they just simply didn't want to. But now they're realizing that they can't, have successful relationships or a successful life basically if they keep ignoring their emotions. Let's get some Cards Against Humanity cards now. These are going to be cards that help me get a feel for their like appearance, their aura. So let's get some cards about pile 4. Who is the person they're going to be in a relationship with next? Who is this person that they're going to be in a relationship with next? Who is this person pile 4 is going to be in a relationship with next? So we have a really cool hat. So there could be some energy of, yeah, maybe they, like, in the past, they had this part of themselves that was, like, hyper masculine and very, maybe they just kept their head down, they did their work, they did what they were told to or whatever, or they did what was expected of them, and they didn't really connect to their emotions about it at all. And maybe now they're in the time of, like, rediscovering that person that they should have validated themselves as being. Maybe now they're trying to reconnect with their emotions, so they're doing things like, trying to express themselves more consciously. Maybe now, like, maybe they're trying to curate more of like a personal sense of style, of fashion style. Maybe they're even just like watching movies and they're actually like trying to think about the emotions that these movies are eliciting in them. But they're trying to make a purposeful like turning point, because they know that they had been like closed off for a really long time, and so they're trying to step back into their femininity, into their creativity. They're trying to be more comfortable with, the artsy side of themselves, and not just sort of the side of themselves that knows how to do what they're told. I'm not getting like any sort of like really strong like career type messages or anything. I just feel like this person very much was like, they did what they were told. They could have had very like strong parental figures, just like almost, I don't want to call them a sheep, but like there were other people in their lives that were like very outspoken about how they wanted this person to live their life, and this person just sort of went along with it because that's what they were taught to do. And so I think that now they're starting to like rediscover themselves and what they want and their emotions, and it could involve wearing a really cool hat. So we also have Morgan Freeman's voice. This came out in another pile, so they could have a really nice voice. They probably have a very soft voice, maybe a little bit quiet of a voice, but I think also a voice that could change. I think that they have different voices for like different emotions, so maybe, or different levels of like comfort with people. So maybe like with people that they're really comfortable with, they have a lot louder and more of like a projecting voice. But then with people that they're less comfortable with, maybe they're just like quiet, and they're a lot more selective about what they say with people that they're not as comfortable with. Let's get 2 more cards about their energy. So yeah, they could definitely have like some sort of sense of style that they're trying to make for themselves. I don't think it's anything overly like weird or out there, because I'm still getting that this person is a little bit, they are a little go with the flow in terms of like society, so I could see them wearing like, the popular stuff, but I think that they would want to do like a little spin on it, because they are trying to merge how they've been existing, and that sort of like head down follower mindset, merge that with their natural sort of like creativity and complexity. So I think that they don't really have like a problem with, doing what they're told and doing what's expected of them. They'll go off and, do these things as long as they make them happy. I don't think that it bars their happiness, them doing something just because someone else told them to do it. But I think that now they're realizing that their happiness is an integral part of it. They can't just do what people tell them to do. They have to do that and then also make sure that they're happy and satisfied with the outcome. And now they're starting to like validate that. But yeah, they could have some clothing choices that are noticeable to you. Maybe that's something that sticks out to you, maybe it's just a little bit of something, maybe it's like a bracelet, and maybe it's like maybe it's like a man or someone who identifies as a man. So, the type of people who don't traditionally wear bracelets. And so you're like, oh my gosh, interesting. Then we have exactly what you'd expect. So maybe there's a type in your mind, like physically, aesthetically, like a type of person that you've always imagined that your next relationship partner will be, or an aesthetic that they would have. And I think that this person very much could have all of those traits, like maybe you're like, oh, I want someone with like dark hair and light eyes, maybe this person is exactly that. I think there is some aspect of like there's something specific that you want like physically wise in a partner that I think this person will have. And then we have a bleached butthole. So that's that was a card both about like, making sure things are prim and proper that do not need to be prim and proper, you don't need to make sure your butthole is like so super squeaky clean because poop's just going to come out of it in 2 seconds. But for this person, it's giving me the energy of them wanting to be a perfectionist. I think that they really do. They like everything to be neat, and they like to know exactly what they're getting into. I think that that's also why their emotions cause so much anxiety for them, because they like having clarity, and their emotions bring them no clarity. But anyway, about the bleached butthole, I think that, yeah, they really want to be, they are perfectionists. They like things going exactly how they envision it. And so they're willing to put in the work. I feel like they could really be like some sort of artist, They think that they could have some sort of like way that they emotionally express themselves. It could be painting, it could be writing, but I think that, in the perfectionist vein, I think that maybe that's something that maybe they loved to do when they were younger, but maybe it's hard for them to keep it up in adulthood just because they're such a perfectionist and they get almost like overwrung or overburdened with anxiety about it, instead of like it sparking joy like it used to. So let's get some other Cards Against Humanity cards just about their energy, like on a personality level. Oh, I just saw 222 on the clock, so that could be a synchronicity for you guys when you guys are about to meet each other or like come into union. Because yeah, maybe for some of you guys, you recently met this person and you guys are currently in that little baby separation period now. I don't think it's going to be a huge separation period, but it's going to be a separation, so you're going to like notice it, you're going to feel like you're separated from this person. Let's get some more cards for pile number 4's person they're in a relationship with next. What are they going to be like? Pile number 4. This is random though, but if you're like into, you know, people who identify as women, or even just not, like regardless of gender or gender identity, I feel like this person could wear like strong eyeliner. You know, it's giving me strong, yeah, strong eyeliner. Maybe strong mascara too, but specifically strong eyeliner. We have overcompensation. Okay, so yeah, I think that there's gonna be. Okay, so I guess that they overcompensate in your connection a little bit in some way at first, or they overcompensate in general, and I think it's because they know that they're not going to they know that they can't be completely emotionally vulnerable, so I think that they overcompensate in other ways, and it could be, so I think it's ways of like seeming cold but then also seeming interesting. So I think that they overcompensate for their like lack of emotional closeness or emotional intimacy with the people around them by, you know, just seeming like a very cold person and then also like a very interesting person. So there's just some sort of like, I think that is a little bit of their external energy, you know. I don't think that if you try to get to know them, they're really going to be cold, or they're going to try to act like, oh, I'm the most interesting person ever. But they're going to, you know, I think, you know, externally when they first meet people, or like people they're just, you know, simply acquaintances with, I think that they do give off an energy of being, of being a little, you know, having a hard shell, but having a hard shell because they're like, you know, a deeply complex person. I think that they know that that's sort of like the energy that they give off. I mean, I think that they definitely know that they're like not so approachable as a person, but I'm not sure how much they know that other people are just very naturally like fascinated by them. But yeah, I think that they definitely do overcompensate for just their, yeah, like their discomfort with emotional intimacy by acting like they're just someone who like maybe like isn't able to have that, you know? Like it could be something like if they have a group of friends and this person hasn't been in a relationship or dated anyone in a while, and everyone in their group of friends like starts like ragging on them for that, maybe this person like will joke and be like, yeah, like I'm actually just like, you know, super hard to please, and you know, I'm just such like a niche person, like no one can like, you know, compare to my energy. But that's just very much like a facade, you know, like a detached, apathetic, cynical sort of facade to like their deep feelings of like, actually, guys, it's really because I'm so afraid of my own complex emotional inner state that I'm even more terrified of other people judging me for it if I ever did disclose that to them. So we also have pretending to care that goes along exactly with it. That's their overcompensation. Their overcompensation is pretending to care, or not pretending to care, pretending not to care, honestly. That's what it is. So yeah, so this actually, it's not pretending to care. I'm reading this as pretending not to care. So their overcompensation is like, yeah, they want to seem like they're a cold, detached person because, or, so I think that they come off naturally a little bit cold and detached just because they're a little bit unaware of all of their emotions. But I think that they know that they come across that way, and so they almost try to like step into that energy more confidently, as if, you know, to assert to the world that they decided it, you know? They're like, yeah, I'm emotionally closed off, but that's because I choose to be emotionally closed off. When in reality, it's not because they choose to be. But okay, let's get some more cards. 2 more cards, please, about pile number 4's not wearing pants. Interesting. So this is going along with Netflix and chill. I think that you guys are going to have a beautiful sensual aspect of your relationship. I think that especially, yeah, the emotional state, you guys are honestly this like Netflix and chill and not wearing pants. What it's giving me like not just like physical intimacy, but like emotional intimacy. I think that this person is going to open up to you and expose themselves to you in a way that they have not exposed to anyone else. It's gonna feel like their emotions aren't wearing pants. If their emotions are a fully clothed person, that their emotions are not wearing pants in your relationship towards you, because they're gonna be emotionally vulnerable with you, yeah, in a way that they haven't been emotionally vulnerable with other people. Then we also have being fabulous. So I think that's the energy that they're gonna feel like they're able to step into when they meet you and when you guys come together, which is so nice because yeah, I think that they were really apprehensive at first, you guys. They were really anxious about opening up to you guys, and like letting you into their complex inner world. I mean, yeah, again, take what resonates, but this is really giving me the energy of like the stereotypical, like, person who identifies as a man, who's just grown up with the societal expectations of a man, who just like it has a really rich inner emotional world, but who has been so detached and far removed from it their whole life that they don't even know how to begin to decipher it all. And you're going to help them feel comfortable enough to look at their emotions and attempt to decipher it, because you're going to make them feel comfortable enough to even like just vocalize these emotions to you. It's almost like they're going to trust you with their emotions before they almost like trust themselves in a way. They're going to be, once they realize that they trust you, it's almost going to be like you're an extension of themselves. So where like they wouldn't even think about being insecure around you, because it's like you're just me, so I shouldn't be insecure around you because like we're just basically extensions of one another. Watch out for codependency in this relationship though. That's something I gotta say, because I think you are going to be such like a beacon of security and comfort and safety for this person to express their emotions. I think they're going to become very codependent on you to help you, or very codependent on you to help them regulate their emotions. So I think they'll be coming to you with a lot of their like little inner turmoils or something, and they're gonna yeah, be eager for your help. And I think that you're gonna be a little excited by it, because it did take this person a little bit to open up. So you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm so honored, of course I'll help you understand your emotions right now. But okay, pile 4, I'm gonna leave it there because this reading has been so long. But I hope you like that. I literally put so much energy into this reading. I feel like my entire soul has been sucked out of my body in a great way though. But I did get just so much, so many cards like all about like these people's personalities. So I really just dove right into their energies and I just sat in it for such a long time. It is a little draining, gotta be honest. But I hope you liked that reading, because I enjoyed getting to know you guys and your people that much more. If you like this reading, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely subscribe so that I can connect to your energies more and give you more personalized readings in the future. And also so that you guys are just up to date on what readings I do. But okay, I'm going to leave it here. And have a nice day or night whenever you're watching this. But I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.